Survivor is back in paradise with 2 returning players looking for a shot at redemption.
I hope the third time's going to be the charm.
I'm more ready than I've ever been.
Facing off against the Dragon Slayer and Challenge Monster are 16 new faces, including the mortician and the medical marijuana salesman, the former detective, and the slam poet. And they all think they'll rule the game.
This is gonna be a walk in the park.
I haven't seen many girls that could probably match my physical strength.
They're gonna have to pull me out of here on a stretcher in order to get me off this island, I guarantee you that.
We take you behind the scenes as the castaways compete in their very first immunity challenge.
Survivor's ready!
From under the sea to high in the heavens, only TV Guide Network was on location to bring you this exclusive look at every angle of the action.
Survivor South Pacific preview starts right now. I'm happy to be back in Samoa. It's been a great backdrop for us. They welcomed us back and we were really happy to be here.
The local government and the local population that we work with, fantastic. Some of the best we've ever worked with.
When Survivor Samoa came, it was a kind of breath of fresh air.
The show's return to familiar turf isn't the only comeback this season.
Redemption Island is back, and I, for one, am very happy about that. Basic same rules apply. When you're voted out of your tribe, you go to Redemption. When the next person comes, you have a duel. The winner stays, the loser goes home. I don't think we're going to do multi-person duels this time. I think we're going to leave it to 2-person duels.
The crucial immunity idols are also back in play, naturally with a twist.
Each tribe has a hidden immunity idol somewhere at their camp, and the clues are hidden as well. So there'll be no clue to find the hidden clue. You just got to use your noggin and start thinking like a survivor. Where might a clue be? So there's a search for the clue, which will lead you to a search for the idol. Our 2 tribe names this year, Upolu and Savaii, are named after the 2 big islands here. The only big question about the tribe names is, will I be able to pronounce them correctly? Upolu and Savaii.
2 names Jeff won't have any trouble pronouncing are Ozzy and Coach, who both return for a 3rd time.
We really liked how it played out with Rob and Russell last season, having the idea of redemption and having 2 people who need a chance to redeem. And we wanted to do it again. The thing to watch this season with Coach and Ozzy is how they integrate socially. They share one thing in common. Their social game thus far has been terrible.
And in true Survivor fashion, the South Pacific season will kick off with an epic battle right out of the gate.
The way the show opens this season is we are at Redemption Island Arena. We bring in the 2 tribes. They've already been divided. And then we'll tell them that your tribes are not yet complete. There are 2 more people. The helicopter will fly in. Ozzy and Coach will get off. And we then have a fun way to decide how they're going to determine which tribe. We have eggs that we've filled with paint. And the idea is when you smash it against your head or your chest or your hand, you'll have blue or you'll have red, and that will determine which tribe you're on.
And then it's time for a challenge designed to throw even seasoned players.
This was a puzzle we'd usually save for day 35, and we put it on day 1. And it ended up going from an individual duel to a tribe challenge. And you heard both tribes yelling instruction to their guys. It was time to put up or shut up.
I've played this game twice, failed miserably in terms of getting to the end. The first time, I wanted to make the biggest splash and character that Survivor had ever seen. The second time, I was seeking redemption. I hope I found that. But this time, it's like the monkey's off my back.
Coach has to get over people looking at him and thinking, dude, you're the Dragon Slayer. Are you serious? He can use that to his advantage, or it can work against him. It's all his social game.
Since his torch snuffing on Heroes vs. Villains, Coach took his penchant for drama to the big screen.
Filmed a movie called 180. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff going on in my life. It's about an old rock and roll guy. He's trying to right the wrongs of his past life and find redemption. That kind of reminds me of my journey so far on Survivor. All kinds of good things happening for the Coach. The first time I saw Ozzy across the beach, I was really excited. There's a big target on both of our backs. I mean, based on what happened, that last season, Boston Rob winning everything, it's going to make it harder for everybody else coming into the game that's played before.
You know, I'm actually pretty excited that Coach is playing. He does try and play with honor, which is rare, you know? I think the two of us together, we could possibly be unstoppable.
Three-time player Ozzy is hoping to avoid repeating his fate from the fans versus favorites season.
I'm gonna try my damnedest not to get blindsided. Hopefully I can just make enough strong alliances and really convince people in the very beginning that having me around is an asset. For me, that might actually be one of the smartest moves to make. Getting far enough along and then having my alliance cut me loose, and then I'll go to Redemption, make friends with everybody, beat everybody, but make friends and then take home the $1 million.
Can Ozzy figure out how to get over the hurdle of being a massive physical threat and integrate himself into a tribe to have a shot?
I want to play like it's my last day on Earth. Like, I want to really enjoy everything.
But there is one thing Ozzy won't enjoy this time: a steamy island romance, like the one he had with Amanda during his last season.
I think Amanda's a really amazing person, and sadly, our jungle love didn't survive in the city. At this point in my life, you know, I would rather finish off this game on a high note than to get taken out because of some silly crush in the middle of the game.
If I were Ozzy, I'd go to Coach and say, let's run these kids right out of this game. I'm gonna pretend to think you're an idiot. You keep telling everybody I'm a threat. Of course, I'm not playing this game, just hosting.
Facing off against Coach and Ozzy are 16 new players, including Sophie, who's already proven herself to be a winner in life.
I won prom princess. It's not an achievement at all to win prom princess. My school, we graduated 28 kids. Like, there were 10 girls and 5 of us got in court.
But prom queen isn't Sophie's only achievement. The 21-year-old from New York also earned degrees in Russian and economics and is currently enrolled in medical school.
Smart women who pretend to be dumb do annoy me. So many of the female winners on Survivor are people who rode coattails. You know, people who acted a little dumb, that way, you know, the strong man would take them further. I mean, there's things here that I'll do and things that I won't do. And I would be, you know, more willing to take my top off to win $1 million than change who I am.
I think Sophie's gonna have a hard time fitting in. I hope I'm wrong. She's really fun to be around, super bright. My advice to Sophie, stay out of the way. Just stay out of the way. Wherever the way is, get out of it.
44-year-old Stacey Powell works as a mortician, but that's not something she's eager to share with her fellow contestants.
Because they'll think that everything is dead, I'm supposed to touch it. Hell, I don't pick up roadkill, I pick up bodies. What made me want to play was that if you could come out here and do this, you'd be more and more appreciative of how life really is. Because I'm a Pepsi drinker, and I said this to be my turn, that time that I could finally fast for 39 days and not have a Pepsi.
Even without the comforts of home, Stacey's ready to play the game.
Yeah, I live in a life, a world of backstabbing and cheating and lying and gossiping. Who don't live for that?
I think she's got a different way of speaking. She's got to find a way to get in and be like everybody else, because unfortunately or fortunately, that is how Survivor plays. The truth is, I think she's going to be a force in challenges, and I actually think she could play this game.
I'm going to have to show some weakness. Not even weakness. Don't come in first. Come in second or third. You know, but don't come in first. Not all of them.
Timing is everything on Survivor. Just ask 51-year-old Rick Nelson.
He's applied 14 times. He finally got on because he won our Sears competition, where we actually had people vote on one person they wanted to be on the show. And I'm so happy.
Every January, you know, it's like, okay, let's go get a film ready for Survivor, and the kids are going, you know, Dad, are you ever gonna give up? It's like, no.
I think Rick is going to have to step back a little bit because there's a lot of young people. And if he comes out of the gate and says, let me tell you how to do it, it just never goes well.
You know, lazy people, I don't like, I hate it when somebody sits there and expects you to bring them dinner, or they sit there and expect you to build a fire. Of course, I won't say anything, but I'll just, you know, remember who they are, what they did. They're useful just as long as, until you get a shelter built, you get a fire going for them, and they're comfortable, then it's like, get rid of that guy.
Still to come.
23 seasons later, you'd think we'd figure it out.
We've got your first look at one of the most complex and grueling challenges ever played on Survivor. But first,
I've never even smoked pot in my life.
meet Survivor's medical marijuana salesman and the rough and tumble lingerie football player.
Guys say girls can't play football. They are so wrong.
Plus, we'll introduce the tattooed mom and the guy Jeff Probst calls Ashton Kutcher Extra Large.
There's more Survivor South Pacific preview ahead right here on TV Guide Network.
34-year-old Jim has quite the eclectic resume. It runs the gamut, from investment banker to professional poker player.
And I don't think you'll find anybody else with that type of pedigree. You know, as a former Wall Street guy that now sells medical marijuana on a daily basis, who also was a professional poker player for a small period of time. I've never even smoked pot in my life.
Survivor's ready!
And with $1 million at stake, this legal pot dealer is keeping his career under wraps.
I just don't see the jury giving $1 million to somebody who owns a medical marijuana dispensary for one reason or another. Some people take life too seriously, and I don't. I think you should always have fun.
Jim Rice is a true character. I mean, he sells marijuana for a living. He came here, I think, looking to find a wife.
When I told my parents, the first thing they always say is, so you think you're gonna find a good girl? Maybe you can find a good girl through this.
I mean, he's got a lot of different agendas going on right now. What's working against Jim is I think he can be swayed by women. I really do think that he's primed to be taken down by a female alliance of hot chicks who tell him he's the next big thing, and then he's sent to Redemption Island where he will be in trouble.
I plan on letting them think that they're luring me in, and I just plan on leaving them before they leave me.
With his killer charisma, the Colorado native isn't afraid of making big, bold moves, even with his parents watching.
I am going to do something that is for sure gonna, sorry Mom and Dad, they're gonna be embarrassed at some point.
Playing in a women's football league makes 21-year-old Michaela tough competition.
It's a full tackle football. It's a 50 by 30 field. It's just like arena football. It's extremely physical. It's an intense sport. If guys say girls can't play football, they are so wrong.
She's an athlete. You know, I saw how hard these girls hit. They hit. It's combat. It's a contact sport.
Definitely physical. I haven't seen many girls that could probably match my physical strength. I'm looking forward to the challenges. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to try to take myself back a little bit because then I'm seen as a huge threat, and a female is a huge threat. You know, they're going to want to take me out from the beginning. The girls themselves, you can tell, they're the ones that are going to be a little pain to get along with. I can just tell the way they carry themselves and this and that. They just are very, like, stuck up, and I just don't like that.
I like to call Michaela the female Boston Rob, because I really think it could be there.
You're gonna have to blindside people. You're gonna have to, you know, it's the game, you know? But I don't see myself as a villain. I would like to be like a little like hero, but it's a game and you gotta play dirty.
Christine, a 39-year-old mother of two and teacher from New York, has zero tolerance for lazy, whining drama queens.
I feel that there are a couple of divas in our midst. Dealing with divas is always very difficult for me because I'm not one. I always feel that, you know, you should suck it up and move on. Let's go. Get moving.
Christine is who you want on Survivor every season. She says what she feels, you know what she's saying, she's very clear, she doesn't mince words.
So I think my social game would be my strength. Being a teacher to students with special needs, I'm able to adapt and I'm able to manipulate in a way that can get them to do what I need them to do. Most times, adults act like kindergartners.
And with her many tattoos, Christine is not your average soccer mom.
I have the eyes of Buddha watching over my kids on my feet. I have a shamrock and a calla lily representing my two heritages, Irish and Mexican.
I came out here to play Survivor so I can win $1 million to fund my startup company.
This Los Angeles-based anesthesiologist is putting her expertise to good use.
My company is called Berries and Cream. It's a kit that numbs the bikini area before waxing or laser. To get Survivor ready, you definitely need it.
Edna originally had a different kind of game plan, with hopes of auditioning for another Mark Burnett reality show.
I reached out to my friend Mick Trimming from Season Samoa. We did residency together. I'm like, I want to be on the Shark Tank. Who should I contact about that? He said, I don't know anything about Shark Tank, but they're casting for Survivor. Do you want to do it? I'm like, sure, there's no way I'll be casted for that. And so 3 days later, I'm like in front of Mark Burnett and Jeff Probst.
But does she have what it takes to make it to the end?
It depends which Edna shows up. There's Edna the doctor. Then there's the Edna who shows up and is a little more comfortable and can work people. If that Edna shows up with the brains of the doctor, but the flirty nature of a woman, she could do really well.
That's not the only threat for the dudes. Another one comes in a 6-foot, 5-inch package.
Definitely the physical attributes is going to be a positive at the start because you want to win challenges in your tribe.
I think Keith is going to be an audience favorite. I really do. He's a good-looking guy. A lot of people have been calling him Ashton Kutcher, you know, extra large.
At 26 years old, Keith's physique seems in top form, but he has his share of health problems.
He's got a pacemaker. He's got this little sympathy thing going on. But really, at the end of the day, he's a big-time athlete, and I think he could do some damage in challenges.
The show was really, really made for me in the fact that, you know, growing up in Minnesota, like hunt, fish, and camp, you know, and really, really outdoorsy.
And though he crawls into sewers as part of his career, it's prepped him for the challenges ahead.
I definitely have walked through a mile of crap, so, you know, you'll have to deal with the same kind of thing every day out here.
Straight ahead,
it's a new little twist we've added.
Your exclusive look at the place every contestant wants to avoid. Plus, we'll reveal how Survivor's art department is heating things up this season. And later, meet more of this season's castaways, including the one with ties to this infamous villain from the past. Survivor South Pacific preview will be right back. For season 23, the Survivor art department used many looks for the South Pacific theme.
We're trying to go for what the typical South Pacific luau, big Polynesian huts, tiki faces, tiki masks, but we're kind of stealing from a lot of different shows, which is kind of easy for us because we've done so many South Pacific nations before, so we know what we like and what's easy and what works. There's the kind of Hawaiian style and the Marquesian style, and we kind of just had the two styles to delineate between the two tribes. Obviously the blue tribe's the Marquesian one and the Hawaiian faces on the red tribe. We're pretty much using those two faces on a lot of the challenges and the buffs just to delineate the two tribes. That's their motif this season.
Jesse and his team make use of the island's natural resources to create some of the challenges.
There's a lot of coconut, well not a lot, but there is some coconut-based challenges because you know, there's a lot of coconuts here and it's, again, very iconic.
Another iconic element of the show is fire at Tribal Council. Leave it to the pyrotechnic department to really heat things up.
At Tribal we've gone, I suppose, super iconic. Big thatch hut, we try to give the roof's giant with a nice curve to it, and a big overhanging arch. Rock base, just the typical Polynesian hut, I suppose. Oh yeah, those big crazy looking statues, they're for the entry to Tribal. They're not extremely scary or anything, they're more tiki hula, but they're you know, just more iconic to the tribe.
One place that is extremely scary, Tribal Council.
Welcome to the Tribal Council for Survivor South Pacific. This is where it all begins. The downhill slide when you have to come to Tribal and face the wrath of me. This is where the survivors will sit. I love these posts. In fact, all of the posts that you'll see around Tribal Council were carved by students from a local school. So there's a little piece of Samoa here.
With less than 8 weeks to build, constructing the Tribal Council set is a massive operation.
There are 6,000 pieces of thatch that make up Tribal Council. Several hundred mats make up the flooring. So basically the roof and the floor were woven by the women of the different communities. One of the big elements of Tribal Council is fire. It's the theme of the show. Fire does represent your life. And in this Tribal Council, we have 35 fires going during Tribal Council. And if you think about that, it's a lot of fire. This is what the show is all about. You start with a group of people. They're strangers. You force them to work together and live together and rely on each other. But the twist is they have to vote somebody out. And this is where it all happens. And I love that when the person is up here voting, right over their shoulder is the person they're voting for. Here's the snuffer for this season. If you're a super fan of the show, you might know that I actually take these home at the end of every season like a nerd. And if you've ever wondered, maybe you're sitting at home and you're too intimidated to actually get up off the couch and come play this game, but you wonder what it might be like to have your torch snuffed, well, it would probably feel a little something like this. There's really only one thing left to do, TV Guide Network. I love having you guys here. TV Guide Network, you do the best specials on Survivor by far, and yet, much like the show, at the end of the day, it comes down to you or me. And this is the only gig I got. Time for you to go. Why don't you spin that camera right off over there into the wilderness and just take a walk. That's right, and just keep on walking.
Up next.
The big key with Brandon, he has to keep it a secret.
Will this season's youngest player be able to keep his infamous Survivor ties a mystery? Plus, it's your first look at an exciting new challenge you'll see on Survivor South Pacific.
You need that machete to move on.
And we'll take you high in the sky for the most unique view of the game. There's more Survivor South Pacific preview coming up after the break. 19-year-old Brandon comes into the game with a big secret.
Russell Hantz is my uncle.
But do the uber villain traits run in his nephew's veins?
I want to take that same determination, but in a slightly different way. I'm definitely going to play my own game. I just have different standards than he does. There's some things that I will not do, and there's some things that I will do. We're just different in that way. I love my uncle.
He's actually a really likable kid. You would never think he was related to Evil Russell. The big key with Brandon, he has to keep it a secret that Russell is his uncle.
I understand what I'm going to be stereotyped as a villain. I mean, that's why I would rather not reveal my last name. So if I get voted out, it's going to be because of my personality, not because of Russell's.
And staying anonymous could get him one step closer to quitting his day job.
I'm a Dangerous Liquids tankerman, and just transfer dangerous liquids from barge to plant or plant to barge. Either way, kind of sucks. $1 million would do a lot for my family. We've been through a lot, man. It's not easy being 19 and having a family, but I'm doing this for them, so it's great. They're gonna have to pull me out of here on a stretcher in order to get me off this island, I guarantee you that.
Another motivated man is Albert, a 26-year-old high school baseball coach.
When I win the game, which is gonna happen, first and foremost, help my family who supported me so much.
If Albert is half as good as he thinks he is, he will be phenomenal, because he thinks he's something else.
What I think they'll do is underestimate my strategic ability and my intellectual ability. They'll just assume, this guy's probably just your dumb jock, you know, when I tell him I'm a high school baseball coach.
He's got all these skills that he brings to Survivor. I'm gonna have to see it in action. Albert has got some proving to do. One day into the game, I'm not sure that Albert is going to live up to his potential.
It's really a game about people skills. It's kind of a big chess game with people, so I think that in itself is going to be a pretty big edge for me.
Sing country music, and I released my first record last year. The entertainment industry is very difficult. People don't understand how long it takes. I mean, I've been there for almost 10 years, and I've only made one record. Perseverance and being strong-willed to this game will help.
Country castaway Whitney developed a thick skin thanks to her musical pursuits. She hopes it will serve her in the game of Survivor.
And you realize she's a rebel. She's a rebel in the country world. She's not afraid to say the things she shouldn't say.
Automatically, I think some people judge you, got blonde hair, dumb blonde, and they'll talk down to you anyway. I don't take it.
But Whitney intends to play up her sweet Southern charm to gain alliances.
People automatically trust you if you're Southern. It's great. So I do have a boyfriend right now, but you know, if I do have to flirt, if I have to play that card, if I bring home $1 million, he's not gonna care.
She could set somebody up and really surprise them with a lethal blindside. She's not gonna let the Bible get in the way of that.
And I am a good Christian girl, but in the end, this is a game. It's a game. It's like when I play the games at my house with my family. Do I cheat? Sometimes, yes.
I know I need to show that I'm strong so that I'm not seen as dead weight. So I'm not afraid to do that.
This 40-year-old English professor loves Survivor so much, she auditioned again after being turned away last year.
And instead of folding and getting frustrated or giving up, Dawn went and started working out harder.
I've been lifting weights like crazy, and so I can bench press about the same or more than my son, who's 16. So I'm hoping there's something, so yay!
And being mom to 6 adopted children, Dawn's used to bringing diverse groups together, which should come in handy at Tribal Council.
I'm fascinated by that idea of how different people get along. And I think it's a great social experiment. I'm excited already to meet the people that are here. The man with the cowboy hat, the boy that looks like Doogie Howser. I think Peter Brady's playing.
I hope she sticks around because I think the audience will really relate to her.
This is the most quiet I've ever had. I mean, when you have 6 children, it's, I don't know. I mean, that's why when they're asking, are you having trouble sleeping? I'm thinking, sleeping? No.
Survivor is returning to Samoa for the first time since Heroes vs. Villains. In September 2009, when that season wrapped, the remaining crew had to deal with survival challenges of their own.
So when we left Samoa last time and a tsunami hit, we were really sad and affected by it.
Some staff, including Survivor's medical team, were still in Samoa.
An earthquake hit at about 6:45 in the morning. And we are lucky because we are on the north of the island, but the main earthquake and then later on the tsunami wave hit about 5 minutes later down the south of the island.
And it wiped out some of the beaches we'd been using, some of the places we'd been staying.
We basically offered our help and our services. The hospital was flooded. So basically we just took up the space of the hospital and just started treating people. As you can imagine, in a disaster, it's always a bit of bedlam.
Dr. Ramona and her team saved lives and treated countless injuries, but the effects of the 20-foot tsunami waves were horrific. Over 189 people from Samoa and neighboring countries died, and many villages were destroyed. The rebuilding efforts in Samoa continue to this day.
Within 1 year, most of the roads have been rebuilt. Over 800 houses have been completed.
Some of the worst hit places, they've moved their whole village up a bit. They've put roads up through the mountains and gone to higher ground because they're not silly. They know that they're living in a place where this could happen again.
Survivor's helicopter camera team has seen every aspect of Samoa's rebuilding from their vantage point high in the sky.
We've been working with Survivor since the start of the show back in '99. I had worked with Mark prior to that, so he called us in to work on his new concept, and it just took off.
It's great how it's kind of culminated in the sort of stuff that we do here.
Most reality shows that use a helicopter, they get it for 2 days. Some aerial shots in New York City and they're gone. The big difference with Survivor is we have a helicopter 24/7 for the entire 39-day shoot.
Well, what we're trying to convey to the viewers is just the proportion of the location and different pieces around it. Shooting from the helicopter is the only way to get that point of view. You can't achieve that from the ground.
Their job is to get those epic shots that you see on Survivor. Some of the best moments on our show are thanks to that coverage.
The first hurdle the chopper crew faced in Samoa? Just getting up in the air.
No helicopters in Samoa, so this has involved a 7-hour ferry flight from Fiji to get it here for the show.
Naturally, this high-flying duo faced plenty of danger.
A lot of the flying that we do is low and slow over second unit challenge courses. So we actually spend a lot of our time in what's known as the dead man's curve, whereby if we lose the engine, it's not going to be good. There's no such thing as a small accident in a helicopter. It can be catastrophic.
The helicopter also pulls double duty in emergency situations.
Well, we actually did a medical evac a couple of nights ago. What was, I guess, about a 1.5 hour ferry trip. We did it. We were outbound in, I think, 14 minutes and back in about 15. We can pull Mark's seat out, camera off, and throw a stretcher in there in about 10 minutes. So it works pretty well.
We've been lucky enough to have a great pilot and a great shooter for years. Those two have been working together. It's phenomenal.
I mean, this is the ultimate platform. It's the ultimate camera platform.
There's another huge wave coming in.
Here comes another one.
Just take a bit water.
Reset. Yep, coming out.
Love to fly, love to travel. I love to use my artistry to just impress the viewers of the show and really portray it through this program.
So having that that creative input, plus the flying, I figure I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Straight ahead.
If is not the first person voted out, something went horribly wrong.
Jeff Probst tells us which player should be the first one snuffed out of the game when we introduce you to the rest of the contestants. Survivor South Pacific Preview will be right back.
I'm currently a student at Harvard Law School, and I think I'll be honest about it. I'm not thrilled to be telling everybody about it, but I think it's the safest bet. Playing in Survivor has always been my aspiration, and I decided now would be a good time to apply because I'm almost done with law school. And once I'm done with law school, I'm going to be stuck doing some crappy job that I don't want to do.
School and Survivor came together when John used his favorite show to prove a point in one of his law classes.
And I figured, okay, I'm passionate about Survivor. I'll write about the Survivor jury system and final tribal council. And I kind of polled a bunch of people, and the overwhelming majority kind of preferred the Survivor jury system.
He can annihilate you with his words, and I look forward to him in interview. The thing working against Cochran actually is the thing that's going to work for him. He's the smallest guy out there. He's going to be perceived as somewhat of a nebbish, nerdish guy.
I'm not the prototypical Survivor contestant. I don't have this great beach body. The flirting game is clearly not going to be up my alley. The biggest thing I have to rely on is adaptability. I'm generally a pretty open person in terms of sharing my insecurities and embarrassing stories. And I kind of like fostering the idea that I'm just an open book. I want people to look at me and say, oh, there's John. He's the one that told us about that stupid thing that happened to him in high school. I just want to encourage the idea that I'm just laying it all out there at all times without actually laying out anything that could harm my game.
24-year-old slam poet Semhar makes no illusions about why she's in the South Pacific.
Straight up, the $1 million is the only thing. No, I'm not one with Mother Nature. I enjoy my walls and my fireplace back at home. I think that's the biggest challenge of this game, having to wear a poker face. I'm not good at that at all. Everybody says everything is written all over my face, and it's true. I'm a very honest person, and I never think to filter or hide things. I'm very real. If I don't like you, I'm going to tell you. I think I could be portrayed as kind of ditzy a little bit because I'm really good at things that are complicated to other people, and I'm just pretty much a blonde when it comes to the simple things in life. I think that I'm a natural flirt. Honestly, I don't even realize I'm doing it when I do it. So I would say, no, I'm not going to use that, but that's just a part of who I am. So I don't want to flirt too much, but I will charm my way through.
And Semhar's hoping her charms are enough to keep her off Redemption Island.
Redemption Island is something that I'm not excited about at all. On Redemption Island, you are alone. So I'm going to try my best to avoid that as much as possible.
If Semhar is not the first person voted out on her tribe, something went horribly wrong. She'll probably go to Redemption. She'll lose the first duel on purpose or not. It doesn't matter.
27-year-old Elise has a past that she thinks makes her qualified to outwit, outplay, and outlast.
I was almost Miss America. I was second runner-up to Miss America a couple years ago. Oh my gosh, there are so many pageant skills that I will bring to this game. I remember thinking as I signed up to do this that if I can live in a house for 2 weeks on end with 52 girls sharing 5 bathrooms, this is going to be a walk in the park.
And Elise is looking to 2 female contestants from the past for her inspiration.
Brenda and Parvati both brought to the game a lot of strengths, actually. I think one of them was they were so in tune with the social aspect of the game. Flirting was a big part in, I think, Parvati and Brenda's strategy, and I'm told I come across kind of flirty, but that's just kind of bubbly in who I am. As friendly as you are with the guys, be as friendly, but maybe channel it in a different way with the girls garnering their trust and bringing them in and knowing who to trust in return.
Some of the producers felt that Elise might be a little in over her head, but I kind of see some spunk in there. For Elise to do well in the game, she will need a good alliance, and I would guess it's going to be with women. I don't know if it's going to work with guys. I don't know if guys are going to fall for the flirty thing.
I think that I'm one of those characters where you love me or you hate me, and either way, that's fine with me.
Retired New York City detective Mark Anthony has a personal connection with the game of Survivor.
I worked 9/11 disasters, and I also did Flight 587. It changed my life. It changed all our lives. I mean, of course, it was just devastating. But the funny part about being on Survivor is 10 years ago when the disasters happened, I took my lunch hour exactly when Survivor was on, and it got me through those hard weeks in the very beginning.
I like Mark Anthony a lot. He's not going to be intimidated by people. He may be able to sense when people are lying. You know, when you think about all the different skills that people bring into this game from their real life, being a detective is a big one.
People allow you to know the inner sides. If you actually listen, you can actually hear the truth come out. I never want to hurt people. You know what I mean? Even to win this game, I'm going to win it with intelligence and honesty.
And more than anything, the openly gay New Yorker hopes to win for the city he loves.
I just want to let them know that I'm here for them. And, you know, I'm going to show them that a New York City guy can win this. It doesn't have to be a hard ass or a liar or something. You know, I can win it with integrity. And I want to give back to people who see me here and realize that, you know, a regular guy like him can go out there, survive with younger people, and really do something.
Coming up,
Season 23, First Immunity Challenge. Here we go.
it's your exclusive first look as the players face the Coconut Conundrum. Don't miss a second of the action when we return after the break. Survivor just wouldn't be Survivor without the complex and creative physical challenges.
Basically, we're coming up with a big opening obstacle course. And here we are back in Samoa. There's a South Pacific theme, so nothing works as well with a South Pacific theme as coconuts.
To get the course ready for competition, John and his team hold practice challenges. This works out the kinks.
"23 seasons later, you'd think we'd figure it out."
They do, at least when it comes to some obstacles.
The wall is the most iconic, quintessential teamwork obstacle because it takes an entire tribe to get over that wall. You really have to be working together, strategizing who's going to go up first, who's going to stay on the bottom, help people up, who's going to be the last person to get up the wall because they have to be fit. And then getting off the wall in the back was no easy feat. There's a pretty good jump on the back. We also added a few different lines in and out of the coconut curtain. Where you run through with all the coconuts. We put a few lower lines and higher lines to try and motivate people to go up and down. They just kind of burrow through them. The last leg, they chop through the ropes, releasing a torrent of coconuts. I was envisioning 1,000 coconuts, raining coconuts. We had 250 coconuts, which is pretty good. And instead of a puzzle, it was one of our few opening challenges in recent history that didn't have a puzzle.
So how will it all come together? Here's your exclusive look as the contestants make their way through the Coconut Conundrum.
Season 23, First Immunity Challenge. Here we go.
Everybody try to get over before you can move on. You need that machete to move on.
You'll have to tune in to see who wins, but with $1 million at stake, you can bet it's going to get fierce. That's it for Survivor South Pacific Preview. To find out who manages to outwit, outplay, and outlast, tune in to CBS, Wednesdays at 8 p.m., 7 Central. Thanks for watching.